Well, let's get out to Natasha Turak, who gave us a great report on events in the region yesterday. What's the latest, Natasha?
Hi, good morning. Well, a lot of anxiety currently running through the Middle East because, on the back of President Trump's latest comments, because, Steve, people in this region and really the world have seen this movie before. The U.S. carrying out or threatening to carry out regime change on an adversarial state in the Middle East. Now, I want to stress some points here. Iran is almost 4 times the size of Iraq. It has a population of 93 million people, and it is one of the world's largest producers of oil and gas. There's a lot of concern at the moment over the fact that there doesn't seem to be much consideration coming from Washington or Jerusalem over the aftermath of a potential, were it to happen, attempt at regime change in Iran, of course, based off of Trump's comments, very threatening to Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. And this, were such an attack to happen, this would very much have like a dangerous spillover effect on the region. Now, I do note that behind the scenes in many of the governments in the Middle East, especially here in the Arab Gulf, there is very little love lost between some of the governments here and the Iranian regime. You're not going to see the likes of Saudi Arabia or the United Arab Emirates rushing to Iran's defense militarily. These countries are stalwart allies of the United States. But that being said, given all the experiences people in the Middle East have had with U.S. intervention in the region, and of course now Israel as well, there is a lot of concern and worry over the consequences, what the day after could look like, and the instability that such attacks would bring, not to just Iran and its large population, but the spillover effect on the Middle East region as a whole.
Natasha, is there a feeling that the GCC countries have just had enough of Iran and the destabilising influence it has on the region?
This is a bit of a touchy subject in the region, but over the years, there has been a bit of a shift in the attitude between GCC governments and Iran. Now, 10 years back, when the then Obama administration spearheaded the original Iran nuclear deal in 2015, there was a lot of actually anger and resentment from the UAE, from Saudi Arabia, a sense of almost betrayal that the United States would extend what essentially was an olive branch to an extent to the Iranian regime. Now, over the years, the stance has shifted not so much on an ideological front, but because the Gulf states are really prioritizing economic stability and continuity. And if there is war in their backyard, that is very much threatened. You've got GCC governments, especially Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, launching multi-year, multi-billion-dollar projects aimed at diversifying their economies. I mean, just down the road in Abu Dhabi, they're going to build a Disneyland. And if there is the specter of regional war looming over this area, that obviously does not bode well for those economic plans. That being said, there, as I mentioned before, very little love lost between the Gulf, a lot of the Gulf Arab governments and the Iranian regime. So there are, behind the scenes, some hopes that there could be a positive outcome to such actions, but at the same time, there's very likely to be enough instability in the interim that it could be very disruptive to these countries' plans.